If you're thinking about buying a Class C motorhome, particularly on a Mercedes chassis, you need to watch this video. Just going to start on this end and work my way around at things that you may want to know. This is a 2021 Tiffin 25RW, and the first thing down here, the jacks. I've worked with trailers for years, never had the self-leveling jacks. These are great. It just makes setup a breeze. Absolutely love it. Now, in this particular lot, you can tell we're not balanced as far as level. Now, we're level on the motorhome, but the lot itself, not that great. So, hey, kudos to the jacks themselves. When you watch the videos where people are showing you the new units, and you'll hear over and over the words, oh, there's great storage, there's much storage, there's blah 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 blah. Well, there's not. It's just part of the thing with, it's a small coach, and you have to understand that to begin with. And of course I went and locked the doors on it. Just to show and by the way, these little tables are great, but it's a very shallow compartment that you're working with. Just you've got the dirt devil in the interior vacuum cleaner, you've got the inverter here. So when you get through with it, I was able to get 2 chairs. I can't carry my nice little rocking chairs. We're gonna hold while the plane passes. So now that the plane's gone by, you can tell it's, geez, I don't know, what would that be, maybe 3.5 feet across there. I don't know that it'll reach a full 4. And so then even small table like this, I'm having to work with it. So I've got the one small little aluminum camping table, 2 chairs, and now this. And to make this work, I'm having to now, in the other camper that we had, then there was a large storage area, went all the way across, and also had the back of the truck. So all of a sudden I lost a ton of storage space. Now I knew I was going to lose space, but truly, until we started setting this up, I didn't have it in my head just how much. When we work our way down, I'm not going to go through all the different compartments here, but from here, it looks like you've got some storage, but what you've got is a propane tank. So you have no storage in this. So the entire outside on this side, that's what you have. Working my way back, if you watched the Fort Pickens video, you saw where the tire had blown out. And this morning, we're gonna take and go get this replaced. And yeah, this was blown out sitting right here on the trailer. The wet bay on the trailer, on the camper, is something that I do like. And it's, I'm going to carry my knee pad so I can get down here. But there is one pipe for the gray, one pipe for the black, instead of multiple tanks to deal with. I like that. Then over here to where you go ahead and hook up your water for your city or your dry camping, then you got your cable inlet over here, and then for your automatic flush, or your Santa flush as they call it, it hooks up here. So it's all very easy to get to. One thing that I found in this that I didn't know that's different than what the campers that I've worked with is that there is hot and cold water back here. That's a nice feature. There is also a water filter back here. That's another that's a built-in when the company puts them out. All right, I've got the slide out, so I'm not going to fool with right now drawing it back in to do this, but simply to show the storage on this side. You've got the wet bay back here. Then we come to where the electrical hooks up in it, and I'll just take the camera here so that I can get up in here. The surge guard and transfer switch. When we first bought the unit, this actually had gone bad, and again, this is a 2021, so they had switched this out for us at the dealership. Then something else that you'll notice, that this is shows surge guard, so it's built-in surge protector. I have watched enough video and read enough though that I know that their surge protector with a transfer switch is about a $500 replacement piece. So I do use an external surge protector so that I don't get into that problem. From here, you've got controls the slide up there. Then you can see the amount of space in this is very comparable to what's on the other side. These are the only two storage spaces that you have on the outside, not counting the wet bay. So again, it's just something, how much stuff you need to take with you. If you've studied these, you're aware that of course the fuel goes in here. All well and good. The thing that I studied quite a bit before buying, and I didn't see anyone tell me, is, and I learned on a trip into the Ozark Mountains, is that inside there is, don't know if you can see this, right down here, there's a piece of metal that's right there. Now, what you run into is, it's designed as a safety feature to keep you from putting gasoline into the diesel. I appreciate that. I wish someone had told me. So some service stations with the auto diesel tank, they have a regular diesel nozzle that's out there, so it won't fit in there. And the first time I ran across this, I didn't know what it was. I even called the guy that had sold it to me asking if he had a clue, and he didn't. So what I've learned, two things. First of all, I had bought an adapter because my wife had told me that she had read where you should do that. I do think it's a good idea. I don't want to get it all scuzzed up with diesel if I can avoid it though. I could have used that, but you simply need to find a station that has the proper nozzle in it. So if you're sitting there trying to work with a regular, and that's again my first experience, what I ended up doing was trickling fuel into it until I got enough diesel in it to fill the tank. It took forever, but it helped me to learn something that day for sure. Something else while I'm right here, if I can, let's see that. And that is this right here. And this yellow sticker, it shows you the occupant and cargo carrying capacity. And on this particular unit, it shows, if you can read, I'm not sure, but it's 840 pounds. So that's talking about water. That's talking about whatever's in your gray and black tanks. That's talking about your passengers. That's talking about anything that you've stocked in the unit, the cords, the chairs, the food, the water you take. 840 pounds. It does not count the diesel that you've got in the fuel tank. And when you start subtracting from 840 pounds, you'll discover there's not much left. Some of the other units that we looked at, I saw some that had probably up to 1,200 pounds of cargo capacity. This one though, it's just not there. Alright, so I've talked on some of the weaknesses that we have. Talk about some of the strengths now. The Mercedes chassis. I had no experience with motorhomes, and I went and test drove an A, a full-size C, and then a Mercedes C. The big A to me, and it wasn't even a big A, it was just uncomfortable for me to drive and was being blown around by big trucks. The C was more comfortable to me, but the biggest issue that I ran into with that, and it was on Ford chassis, which most are, is that the motor and transmission comes way back through here, and you have very little leg room to operate with, and the passenger side has even less. In the smaller Mercedes, it's just, there's tons of room. You can move all around this thing, and it's extremely comfortable. The seat, even though I have it covered here, is very comfortable. It's extremely adjustable. It can be moved around in all kinds of shapes, and this was the primary thing that sold me on the Mercedes coach. I was willing to give up a lot of the other things for the comfort of being able to drive. Like with most new vehicles, and this is a 2021, it's on a 2020 coach, 2020 chassis, there is a huge learning curve. The infotainment center is nice, but the controls, you've got to get an education. To hook up my iPhone, wires up through here, and in the first day that we had driving it back from Georgia, we couldn't figure out how to operate the darn thing. Come to find out that it has a C adapter on the cord for the lightning cord, and I didn't have one of these and didn't understand that that's where it had to plug in. So then we did buy the cord, and then I had it plugged into the wrong place, and it wasn't until we'd gotten back to where I was finally able to understand how that's supposed to work. On this model, the rear view camera is okay. It also has the side cameras. In the later models, they have features that are more like some of the other vehicles that I've had, and that being that it shows the lines as to where the vehicle's going. This one, all you have is a camera view that's back there. When you turn on your blinker, you get a side camera on whichever side that you're looking at. That I really thought that was a big deal until driving it, and then I don't really find it to be that very helpful. And the reason for that is that those side cameras, you have to be watching the screen here. And so if I'm making a left turn and I've got that left camera on, I don't need to be looking at a screen over here on my right. I'll take my mirrors every time. And then even looking at the right, truly your eyes are on the wrong place to be looking at that center screen. So that's not been really a big deal. The backup camera on it, it simply shows a field out there, and I actually put little stickers on here to kind of mark where the sides of the camera view would be. And yeah, it's kind of chunky looking, but this is where the left hand side of the vehicle is, the center, and the right hand side for when I'm backing up. That picture actually comes out like this, and you don't have any feel for where you're at in that picture. So the newer versions that I've seen, they do have to where it blocks it off and it shows the lines to where you can really get some assistance in trying to back up. Other thing while I'm here is just, again, just the sheer cab space that's in here. I mean, I'm trying to do this while I'm moving around, so I may be doing a very poor job of it. But I mean, I can get up and I can move around and back and forth. You can't do that in one of the others. And then, while I do have a curtain up here at this point, it's to where it's really pretty easy to be able to walk back and get through, and I can lift this up here if I want to do that. Okay, we're going to move inside, and we have now been in it for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days, and having been evacuated out of Fort Pickens because of rain. So this is what you'll never see when you're looking at particularly someone showing all the different videos of a new one or even a nice used one. This is lived in. So I'm going to start with the door. And there's pros and cons. I've read all kinds of things with problems with the doors. So far, the problems that I've had, very, very minor, and some things I really like. I really like this, to where it works great, and it's to where if you want to see outside, you can, or if you want to see who's knocking at your door, you can, and then it's that simple to solve it. It really works great. I've not really found a purpose for this yet, but at some point, who knows, maybe I'll think of something I really want to put in there. The problem that people have with the door is, on this type anyhow, particularly that I've seen, is that they don't seal off really great. And that being right through here. Up the top, you can see that it's really smooth up through here, and then it kind of comes out just a bit. And we are in an absolute flight pattern here. This can be adjusted right here by loosening these, sliding this in or out whichever way it needs to go, and that solves that problem. I did this. I don't think I tightened them up enough to where you could tell in the picture that it is actually moved out just a bit. Not a big deal, but if you got a lot of light outside, you can see it around the bottom of the door right now. While I'm shooting this, do keep in mind that my wife keeps telling me how I need to be picking up things and putting up things so it doesn't look so junky. And I'm going, no, this is just the way that you live in one. I had bought a box of the Def, and at this I've been surprised. I've actually put about 3,000 miles on the unit since I've had it, and it's only down to about 60% use of the Def. The things that I'm reading are telling me I need to get down to about 50%, so it'll use the whole box. So I've actually had the box in here for about the last 300 miles, thinking I was going to be needing it, and just not there yet. Again, when you watch things, particularly on the new ones, and they start telling you about all the storage, and if you read, it'll tell you that this thing will sleep, oh God, depending on who's doing it, anywhere from 4 to 5 different people in it. Well, I guess it's possible is what I'll give you. With 2 of us though, and we're on a 2-week trip, I don't know where you're going to put 2 other people or 2 other kids or 2 other anythings with the kind of space that you've got left to work with. Yes, you could put 2 small children up here. Absolutely you could. But when you're trying to store some of the things that we're trying to store, at that we need the room. Something that we had seen that I more or less copied, we couldn't find a color that I like, and that is this little insulated camping cover here. And this really works well because you wouldn't think it, but the difference in temperature from here to here is dramatic. I'm going to say 15-20 degrees different. So whether you're dealing with warm or cold, that is a big helper right there. Then obviously the Blue Def, I had no room for it outside, so it's in here with us right now. I'm getting close to getting down to that 50% level, so I'll be able to get rid of that pretty soon. Something that you don't spend any time telling you about, you got to put garbage somewhere, and there's really not a place for it. There's just no room. The kitchen part, compared to what we're used to, is really quite small, but I'm gonna say out of the places that we've seen we've had to adjust, this is probably one of the more limited areas that we've had to adjust. This works out pretty well. The TVs in this unit, there's one that's here and one back in the where the fold down Murphy bed is, and they work on the same control, and that's a real pain. I can just tell you, I will be trading out this TV for some other manufacturer so that you can operate one TV with one and one TV with the other, because this drives you nuts when you're going back and forth. The things that I can tell you, pros, again, while the weight is a problem, and you'll see this as a problem over and over with the cargo carrying capacity, but the reason it's such a problem is that they have nice features. This is good stuff. It's not lightweight covered type stuff. The cabinets, they're wood. They're the real deal, and all of this is heavy, and so when you start using this type of material inside the unit, it just builds weight in. The recliners, and this is again something my wife's going, oh, take those off of there, and truly I will, just because. But we've learned with other campers that if we cover them, that guess what, they stay nice. And so particularly when you're dealing with summertime, you're getting into sunscreen, you can keep them nice if you keep them covered. We've not found anything that we're looking for yet to be the cover, so we actually took these out of the camper that we had. So no, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's functional for the moment. The refrigerator in this unit is really quite nice size. It can hold quite a bit of food, and absolutely no issue with any of that part. This particular unit is 12 volt only. I would prefer to have the one with the gas option on it, simply because it allows you to be off grid for a longer period of time. This one, you'd have to pay some attention. We don't do much of that, so it works well for us, but at the same time, I would like to have that feature. I've had it in every other unit I've had. I don't know what goes on with this part of this particular one, but out of the blue, it may just come up and start to make a little beeping warning sound. I haven't found out yet why or what that's for, but I can tell you at 2:30 in the morning, it's not anything that you really like. On the other side is the Murphy bed. And again, guess what? There's some stuff that it just didn't fit everywhere else. The Murphy bed is a feature that, for the major part, we really like, and more so than I would have ever thought that we would. Again, you can tell there's some things that they're just here. Again, it's living. These things, yeah, we can pack them up, but we started just shooting this during the course of the morning, and I wanted it to be to where you could see, here's what it really looks like. The Murphy bed itself, you know how those work, so I won't show all that. We're parked under a tree with acorns falling on us, if you happen to hear that. But the bed itself, the mattress is, I don't know, maybe that thick, something like that. But it is extremely good. It's really surprising. Now, I'm 5'7", and at that point, I can tell you if I was any taller than 5'7", I would have an issue with the length of the bed. So keep that in mind if you're looking at one of these. Is that, I mean, even at that, I'll find myself with my feet hanging off the end of it from time to time. When the Murphy bed is laid down, then you'll have a space. I won't go to the trouble to move all this around, but about that wide a path that you can walk down through. So if you get up in the middle of the night and then you kind of have to have your back against the wall and hoping that you're not going to drag the bed and knock somebody else's feet during the course of your move across there. But overall, the Murphy bed really works well, and I like that it gives this much space in the chassis, well, not chassis, but in the coach, because this is really, it's nice and it's comfortable in this. In the bath itself, there's enough things out there about the shower and all. Yes, the shower is a good size. It was a big selling point for us. The other coach that we had a Grand Design Imagine 2600 RB, and we honestly were trying to copy it and finding something else. The primary things that we looked for: the big bath side to side, that was a big feature. The reclining chairs, the theater chairs, that's a big deal. And the TV directly across from those was a big deal. And then in this unit, if you like watching TV in bed, well, then you have the TV directly across from there. It works well. Back on the Murphy bed, and that's for my wife. She absolutely loves the Murphy bed. We've had various campers, everything from 40-foot fifth wheel to 25-foot travel trailer, and I would say, with the exception of the 40-foot fifth wheel, making the bed was just a nightmare in trying to get around the mattress on it. On this, to where the bed lays down, to where you can actually spread out your stuff, get your corners on it. Now you will have to tuck some, because again, the mattress being short, you'll have to do some things there, but it is very easy. And then in the morning, when you get ready to get out of bed, you can kind of like toss your covers to the middle, get your pillows so they don't fall off in the hole back there, press the button, it goes up, and you put your cushions back on, you're made. There goes another plane. The videos that I've seen have all talked about the recliners, the theater seats, how comfortable they are. They absolutely are. The theater seats in our Grand Design, they were really nice, and they also had the heat part, and they had the vibrate part. The heat part we would use from time to time. I don't know that we ever fool with the vibrate part. These don't have that, but they make up for it so much in just the sheer comfort of them. I can't tell you enough how nice it is to be able to come in after being on the road all day and to be able to just stretch out and be comfortable. So this has been a good part right here. Without going into all the little details that you'll find on every sales video out there, I can tell you these are the things that I know that I'm good with. The air conditioning unit on this type, you can either get a 13.5 or a 15,000 BTU unit. This has 15,000. We're in the deep south. I would not touch one that has a 13.5 in it. Maybe if you're up north somewhere, but if you're going to be dealing with any kind of heat at all, it's not enough. So as a whole, we have been very pleased with the unit. Fuel mileage on it, it's right where everyone's told us it would be. We're getting about 14 pulling a trailer with a Spider on it. That's pretty darn good. We can more than make up for the cost difference in gasoline and diesel with doing that. I hope that if you've been out looking, that this will be helpful to you. I know I had looked for several things in trying to get some of the information that I've put out on this. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to put it in comments. I'll do my best to answer everything that comes across. Thanks for watching. Safe travels out there.